Дошли в Hill Season подкаст. Подкастът, който поставя вас в центърът на приключението. Аз съм вашият домакин, Иван Димитров.
Welcome everybody to episode 8 of Hill Season podcast. As you may have noticed, today we're speaking in English because my guest speaks English. He also speaks Bulgarian pretty well, but he's just not so comfortable today. And I'm sorry, I hope that everybody that listens to the podcast knows English. If not, well, there is going to be another one next week. So my guest today is Juan-Pablo Savonitti. So my guest today is Juan-Pablo Savonitti, who lives in Bulgaria at the moment, and he's been in Bulgaria for the last 3-4 years, and has actually learned Bulgarian pretty well. Say hi, Pablo. Juan Pablo.
Hello, здравей.
Здравейте. We have come together here to speak about his future plans that he has. He has a pretty giant run lined up, so he's calling it the Pan American Run, and basically the idea is that he wants to do a record to cover the distance from the northest to the southest place in North America to South America, from Alaska to Ushuaia in Argentina. And we have gathered today to speak about it because it's a giant plan, it's a huge distance, and it's really interesting. For me at least, I know that this is beyond my skills and thinking, but it's still pretty interesting to learn more details on this run. But before going into that, Juan Pablo, can you just introduce yourself a little bit? Because I know that you have been running a lot in the last few years, and I think that this is going to be interesting.
Okay, great. I'm Juan-Pablo Savonitti. I'm an Argentinian, half Italian, and I'm living here in Bulgaria from 2015. And actually, after tomorrow, I go into Buenos Aires. And thank you for suggest me or invite me to do this podcast with you.
Yeah, it was a hard bargain.
It's not true.
So how did you start running?
Okay, I start to run almost by mistake, let's say. I was working in the company that I'm working now, in the IT sector, and one of my colleagues just mentioned to me, and there is a race after tomorrow. It's called Vitosha 100, and it's 100 kilometers running around the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, no, man, maybe you're confused. You read 10 kilometers, not 100. No, really, go there, check. And well, I went to the website, I started to check this, and he was true. But I read that was on a bike, so I told to him, no, man, this is for bike, so 100 in a bike is okay, it's not really that much. And he said, no, check better, you will see. So I went to check again, and I realized that he was true, was 100 kilometers. And I just wanted to try. I just decided to send an email to the organizer because was not possible anymore to register in the web form because the registration was closed. So I couldn't make any registration because it was 48 hours before the race. So I sent an email to the organizer stating that I was coming from Italy on purpose for this race, and that I really want to be able to run. And they reply after, I don't remember now, but very fast, telling me, you have time until 7 p.m. tonight to come to our store, Alpi, and just to pay the tax, and it's okay. So perfect.
So you lied them?
I think yes.
Yeah, that's the best place. That's the best way to enter a race.
Lie. Sorry, I understood like.
Yeah, you just lie that you have a lot of experience.
No, I never say that. I just say that I was on purpose in this country from Italy for the race, and then they used their imagination. I never mentioned that I was an expert.
So how did the race went?
Well, the race, from my point of view, was very good. I mean, I finished after 13 hours and 50 minutes, something like that. And it was an amazing experience. I remember that I was extremely afraid, and when I was there and taking my bib number, I was asking myself what I'm doing, and I was not knowing anything about this world. But it was an amazing experience that I still remember, and I still remember even the pain that I have for the next 2-3 days after the race. But it was an amazing experience. For that moment, it was like a drug. I get like addicted to this.
So you started doing a lot of races after that?
Yes, I start really often to run. I start to get more interested on how to become better, how to train, which are the best ways. And I start to register in all the possible races that I was founding, and with the condition that were at least more than 60, 70, 80 kilometers. I mean, I didn't want to do like marathons or shorter distance because I wanted to get more experience in this distance.
So only like trail, mountain running?
Yes, I was doing more. When you can, let's say, switch for running to walking fast or to climbing, I was feeling better in this kind of ambience, let's say.
Right. So after Vitusho 100, you sign up for a lot of races. Now for your 2017, I think you ran something like 12 or 13 races that are 100 kilometers or more, right?
Yes, I don't remember exactly the number now, but yes, I'm pretty sure that if it's not 12, it could be 13 or 14, something like that, more than 100 kilometers. And yes, it was something like 2 races per month. So I was like doing one race, resting one weekend, or maybe not resting the other weekend and just doing the other one. But it was amazing. I mean, the idea for my 2017 was to get experience, so to do as much as different terrains as possible, and to get experience. It doesn't matter the result or how much time I will take it, just to get in.
What race did you like the most? Or was like the best memories that you have?
I think I have like a mixed feeling, let's say, and would be Tor de Géant and Lavaredo in Italy. And I think that maybe for the ambience, for the paysage, and if I remember now, for example, the nights that I was spending in some peaks during the Tor de Géant with very, very, very bright nights when you can see everything without any headlamp. That was amazing, and it was in the middle of nothing, totally alone, and the weather was amazing, so it was really like another dimension. So that was something really that I remember, and that it was yesterday, let's say. Sorry.
Okay, you've managed to finish that. Now I remember that either before Tour de Géant or just after Tour de Géant, you had lined up a few races back to back. Is that correct? It's like the next weekend you had another race.
Yes, after Tour de Géant, Tour de Géant was. I entered again in. Let's say I come back to Bulgaria, and on Tuesday and on Thursday, so 2 days after, I traveled to Bansko to prepare, for Pirin Ultra, yes.
So you had Tour de Géant, which is 330 kilometers, and 2 days later, or 4 days later, you start Pirin Ultra, which is 160. So that's a lot of running.
Yes, it's a lot of running, but let's say I think that I was lucky. and because of the weather in Pirin, the route of the race was changed, and we didn't go to Pirin Peak.
Okay.
And I was still running and trying to achieve, let's say, to finish the race, but I have to be sincere, so I think that I was lucky because of this last minute change, because of the weather, that allowed me to finish the race, because otherwise I don't think that I will finish the race.
But because of the hard terrain or because of the time cutoff?
And so the terrain is hard, is technical in Pirin, and the cutoff is okay if you are well trained and if you don't have Tour de Géant 5 days earlier. But was not the fact. I was very tired, but I wanted to finish. So my idea was that. But I repeat, I was lucky because of the last minute change. That's why.
All right. So after all the 2017, you did, like, as we said, 12 or 14 mountain races. You decide to do something completely different, which is flat running, but in minus 30 degrees temperature. Can you tell us more about this Yukon race, the name, the event, what's happening, and the outcome of the race? Because I'm sure that everybody that follows you in Facebook have already seen, but I think a lot of people that don't know about you will not know what happened. So it should be interesting. So what's the name called first?
Okay, this race is called Yukon Arctic Ultra. Okay, and they start to do this race 15 years ago. So the 2018 was the 15th edition. And actually, I started with the idea to do this race when I was before start the Tour de Géant.
Okay.
Because I was reading a magazine when they mentioned that something about the 5 legends. The 5 legends are 5 races that they consider the hardest races in the world. And these 5 races are Tour de Géant, Yukon Arctic Ultra, Trans-Pyrenea, Trans-Omania, and Spine Race in UK.
Okay.
These are the 5 races. So in that moment I say, okay, let's see if I will be able to finish Tour de Géant. Let's go further and try to finish the 5 legends.
Okay.
So that was the idea, how this started. And coming back to Yukon, I did some kind of preparation for this race, because the race was, let's say, very, very, very flat. The race was with several distances.
So basically, you are on the Yukon River entirely, running on top of the river because it's frozen. So the road is like the river, right?
Yes, the route is the river, but you are crossing the river a lot of time, and the lake as well. But it's not all the time the river. All so right. You have some trails that...
And that is the original route of the first settlers there? Is that correct? The gold rush and stuff like that?
Well, actually, yes. But there is a famous race that is called the Yukon Quest, that is with the sled dogs, and it's starting every year from Fairbanks in Alaska until Whitehorse in Canada, in Yukon. And this race is taking the same route, the same path, in the opposite direction, but with the difference of the distance. So it's not 1,000 miles. You have 300 miles and 430 miles every 2 years. Or otherwise you have the marathon distance and 100 miles.
Right. So you choose the 300 miles distance this year, right?
Yes, I chose this one because it was the longest one in this year. And let's say that the speciality of this race is that you have to pull all the time a sled with you when you have all your equipment. So you have everything that you will need during the race is with you. You have some checkpoints during the race, but you have to be autosufficient.
Self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient, yes. So you have to take care of yourself even if you have the checkpoint. You have 3 disciplines in this race that could be backcountry skiing, bike, or running. These are the 3
fat
disciplines.
Were there a lot of fat bikes there?
Actually, they are only fat bikes. It's fat bike, but they're called bike. I mean.
Right. So the way I remember was that the origin of the fat bike was because of races like this one, because of Arctic races. That's where they invented the fat bike.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of them even here in Yukon Park, but I never knew that was for that. For that was the origin of that.
So what happened? You start the race. You went to Alaska. You prepared. There is a training camp the week before the race.
Okay, so for the requirement for the race, let's say, are some experience in this kind of extremely cold ambience, or otherwise, if you have enough training with ultramarathons, but without any experience in cold environments, in that case, you can do let's say a survival course of 1 week there with I don't know how to say this word, like
with the coach, with Bear Grylls showing you everything.
Well, something like that, but it's not Bear Grylls. Okay, yes, like a 2 instructor,
Okay.
and that they are like trying to teach you as much as possible in this week, or just giving all their acknowledgement, just to know exactly what will going on and everything. And I was quite surprised, let's say, after 2 days that I was there, because was totally, my point of view about the race was totally changed. I mean, I arrived there very confident, thinking that with my training I will be okay. There is no climbing, so I just have to pull this sled. And I was training a lot with a tire in the park, so I was simulating, let's say, the traction of the sled. But after 2 days, I realized that all my training was useless for that. So I start again from the beginning to think about the race with a totally different point of view. And my approach for that moment was much more mental, and try to be as much focused as possible, in order to avoid any mistake, let's say. I was focused in everything, let's say, in the timing for eat, for drink, and for resting. And I remember that we have 3 drop bags checkpoints, and I was thinking very, very careful what to put in those ones, because if something will missing in the between, I will be like...
Yeah, stuck.
Yes, exactly. So I was a little bit, let's say worried. I was a little bit worried before start the race, until the race started, and I was okay. I was really...
But what actually happened was, from what I remember about your story, was you prepared for minus 30 degrees, and when the race started, it was actually minus 50 degrees. Is that correct?
No, actually, I was always aware that the race could reach temperatures between minus 40 and minus 50. That was something that we were aware. But you can have that 1 night, or maybe maximum 2 nights, at the beginning of the race, and after that you are in the middle of the path, the temperature will decrease. But for what I heard for the organizer, this was the coldest one in the history of the race. And I remember that the first night we slept between brackets, let's say, and at minus 52 degrees Celsius.
Minus 52.
Yes, it was amazing. But still, we were aware of that. We were ready to be able to manage those temperatures. We have the right equipment, the right gear, everything. But the condition was extremely hard. So after the first checkpoint, for example, I was, let's say that for the first part of the race, as soon as I start the first 2-3 hours. I was okay, I was perfect, let's say. And suddenly I realized that my camelback was totally frozen.
Okay.
So I couldn't get more water from myself. So I have to stop every time that I want to get water and unblock myself from the sled and go until the sled to take water or hot tea or hot chocolate, whatever I had there. And this was just starting from the beginning, starting to make me slower, and at least as well mentally was working on me, like, and pushing me several times to decide to don't stop to go to take the water, for example. So I think that this was a very bad start, let's say, in the race. And when I arrived to the first checkpoint, that was the marathon distance, so 42 kilometers, I was able to dry my clothes, to have a very good meal, and I get warm there as well. And after like 40 minutes, something like that, I continue.
Okay.
And I remember my happiness, let's say. I was extremely confident after the next 3 or 4 hours after that I left the checkpoint. And I was really confident. I was extremely good, and I was thinking, okay, let's finish this race. I was very, very confident. Until that maybe 5 or 6 hours later, I start to feel, to sweat a lot.
So let's just say that's on the second day of the race, right?
No, I mean, the race started at 10 a.m.
Okay.
And this was happening to me, let's say, at 1 a.m. of the day after, let's say. I mean,
right.
It was
1 in the morning.
Yeah, so it's after, let's say, in all the race I was something like 30 hours. 30 hours was my...
The entire?
Yes, the entire time that I was in the race. So it was like 1 day and a half, a little bit less than 1 day and a half.
All right, so at 1 o'clock in the morning you are feeling still really good?
Yes, and the point was that the first part of the race, and from the first checkpoint until that we entered in the forest, we were on the lake, exactly. And that part is coldest than the other. Mm-hmm. So my point and the suggestion for the other experienced runners was to try to go as fast as possible to the forest, to take a rest there, to open the tent, to make a bivouac and sleep some hours, eat something, make a fire. And I start to get anxious before I arrive to the forest, so I start to get very fast, very, very, very fast. I remember that in that moment I was with other 2 guys, and I decided to go faster, and let's say that the 1 or 2 kilometers before the forest, I started to feel very, very cold. I was sweating a lot, and I was not able to dry myself, so it's something like that. Sweating was getting icy.
Yeah.
And as soon as I arrived to the forest, I was in a very bad condition. I was really bad, so I decided to open the tent and as fast as possible to enter there, warm myself, drink a hot tea or something. And as soon as I enter in the sleeping bag, let's say that after 15-20 minutes, I start to realize again that I was getting warmer and starting again to be okay, let's say.
Did you manage to get some sleep in the tent?
I don't remember exactly, but maybe I sleep like 40 minutes or something like that. I remember that I drink a hot tea and some water. And I remember as well that I was trying to change my clothes, but everything that I found was totally froze.
Yeah.
So my dry clothes was totally froze. So I said, okay, no problem.
So you like take the t-shirt and start beating it against the tree to break it up a little bit?
No, not like that. But actually, I didn't. It was not a t-shirt; it was a jacket.
Okay.
And the other jacket was really froze. So as I was wet, I decided to use the froze jacket instead of a wet one. and I put this one above the second layer that I had. So I was not feeling exactly the cold except in the, let's say, near the head, because it was with the hood, only that part. But was the best choice in that moment to do.
And you also were in the sleeping bag?
Yes, I was inside the sleeping bag, yes. That is the best part, I think, to be inside the... Actually, the sleeping bag is your lifesaver, if you can say like that, because in any kind of situation that you are in trouble, you have to dry yourself and just enter in the sleeping bag and wait until you are better, because it's like your home for all this race. And let's say that after 40-45 minutes, I cannot say exactly the right time, and we decide to leave and to continue. And the problem that was that, let's say that I found some troubles to close the tent and to close the zips of all my stuff. So at the end I broke the tent on purpose in order to put it inside the sled bag and to proceed, because I was losing my sensibility in my hands and everything. So after that I start again to proceed with the race. I couldn't warm up again, so I was not able to warm up again. I mean, my body was okay, but my hands were not okay at all. So what I did, I start to shake my hands, trying to send some blood to the extremities of my body. I already ate something before when I was in the tent, so I didn't need that, but I couldn't manage to get my hands warm, for example.
Okay.
And so that I was in that moment with one Spanish guy, so I told him, okay, don't wait for me, go, I will open again the tent, try to warm up again, and don't worry, so go, nothing will happen, it's okay. And actually in that moment, in the race, we have, let me just make a parenthesis here, just to explain you something about the race. We have a GPS that was attached to the sled all the time. And in that GPS, you have two buttons. One is like, I'm okay, I'm VV, or I'm just taking a rest. And the other one was an SOS button, just to ask for help, in case that you are needed. During the night, the rescue was not working, okay, because it's very risky, let's say, for the guys who are driving the skidoo. So I knew that in the night it was useless to push the SOS button. So what I decided to do is to try to relax, to warm up in the sleeping bag after that I enter in the tent, to drink something hot and try to get warm again. This was my idea, because it was useless to push the button in that moment. And I said, okay, let's try to sleep. And the day after, let's say in the morning, if I'm still bad, I will push the button in that case. So it's the better thing, because knowing that they will not come in the night, the best thing is just to try to relax and think when you are with a cold mind, let's say. So that was what I did, but I'm not able to describe now how many time passed in this chaos, let's say. But maybe 2 or 3 hours, something like that, maybe 4, I don't know. Maybe I fall asleep and I wake up. I'm not able to remember that. And what I remember is that when I woke, after that 5 or 10 minutes that I wake up and I was trying to check my hands, when I checked my hands, I realized it was already late. I was with all my fingers black.
Okay.
And so I realized that I was with frostbite. I was entering in hypothermia as well. And so the decision was to go out from the tent and push the button to ask for the rescue team. But after like 5-10 minutes that I was still inside the tent, I heard the engines of one of these guys who was passing with the skidoos. So he stopped and he asked how I was, and I remember that I was sarcastic in that way. I'm okay, man, no worries. I just have frostbite and I'm entering in hypothermia, but it's okay. And he told me, what? So I showed my hands to him and he told me, no, man, this is frostbite. And in that moment, he pushed the button for me, and he was my rescue, let's say. And he bring me to another checkpoint, let's say, like, I cannot remember now, but it was very, very fast, I remember. I was in this skidoo, going very, very fast. This guy just informed the base that we are going there, and all my staff stay there because somebody else was having the duty to pick up my things later and bring them to...
So the idea is to rescue as fast as possible to the nearest warm place with a doctor.
Yes, something like that, because there was not, let's say, a nearest place there. Let's say the nearest place was, there were another 2 or 3 pickup cars with, of course, with heating inside. And I stayed there maybe half an hour or 40 minutes because my condition was not requested by an emergency, let's say. I was not in a risk. I was just with fingertips, frostbite in my fingers. But was not really an emergency. I mean, so I stayed there like half an hour or 40 minutes, drinking hot tea, hot chocolate, water, and after a certain time they bring me to Whitehorse, where the hotel was, and from there I went to the hospital.
Okay.
And then they checked me. They told me, okay, it's hard to say now what will going on, but it could take 1 week, 2 weeks just to realize more or less, but doesn't look like something that you could lose maybe one finger or something. Doesn't look like this, but we never know.
Yeah.
You have to wait for this. And that was more or less the experience.
So they treated you, and I remember when you returned, like half of your fingers were really black, but they managed to heal all right?
Yes, I have only just the nails now. I will lose maybe 1 or 2 nails of my hands.
Yeah, that's a small price to pay.
Yes, actually, yes.
Was it painful, this recovery process?
Yes, it was very painful. I remember the doctors told me to put my hands on warm water, like 30 minutes per day. And that moment was really painful. I mean, every time I was doing that, maybe not in the moment that I was putting the hands there, but let's say that every time that I was sitting down or even walking, the blood was trying to reach that dead tissue, let's say, of my fingers. So, and you feel the blood pushing from inside, trying to get those edges, and really, you really feel it. You see.
Yeah.
So that is really painful. That is really painful. But was the thing to do, so it's okay. I mean, was still affordable, let's say, not painful.
Yeah.
And I was okay because I knew that was the right decision to do.
How much time did you need to recover, like, most of your functionality, like type on a keyboard, type on a phone, or stuff like that? How much time did you need to recover to that level?
I took something like 3 or 4 weeks, something like that, to start again to type properly and with the same speed and hitting with my fingers on the keyboard, for example. But I remember when I was using my phone, for example, I was writing very slow with my pinkies, or the little ones, I don't know how. And it was funny. It was really funny.
Well, that's a great experience,
Yes, it is. And still I cannot wait to come back there, to do it again.
You want to go back?
Yes, I will. I mean, I'm sure that I will go. Maybe in 3-4 years, but yes, I will go for sure.
Nice. Okay, so in 2018 you also have a big lineup of races. What are you doing this year?
Okay, so this year I did only this one, the Yukon, and I was I was registered to other 2 races that lastly I decided to don't participate. So I will not run any race this year. Okay. I mean, I'm not having any plan of races except maybe some ultras in Argentina. and some trainings that I will do, like a very long training, maybe go for 20 days and 1,000 kilometers from one point to another one.
All right.
Like this.
So in a couple of days you're going back to Argentina, to Buenos Aires, and basically you're going to spend the next 8 months to prepare for what is to happen in 1st of January, right?
Yes, exactly. I'm going to Argentina after tomorrow, and I will get focused 100% in this project that I'm planning for something like 1 year and a half. And the idea is on the 1st of January 2019 to cross all the Americas, all the American continent, from Prudhoe Bay in Alaska until Ushuaia in Tierra del Fuego. The distance will be 35,000 kilometers, and I'm planning to do this in something like 900 days.
This is like just above 3 years, maybe, or just below 3 years.
And if everything's good, okay, will be less than 2 years and a half. Maybe 2 years and 3 months or 4 months, something like that.
That's a huge distance to cover, and
yes,
a lot of time.
A lot of time.
So what's the route called?
So the route is called the Pan American Highway or the Pan American Route.
Okay.
And I call this project Nyama Limits, running to the end of the world.
Why Nyama Limits? What is Nyama Limits?
Okay, Nyama is a word in Bulgarian. I don't know if I have to explain this, but this happens, how this start is because I was registering for a race in internet, for a Bulgarian race, and when I was filling the fields in the web form, I remember that I had the IME, Presime, and Familia, so name, middle name, and family name. So as I don't have Presime, as I don't have middle name, I just write Nyama, but with Latin letters, not in Cyrillic, and then my first name and my last name. And after some minutes, I receive an email saying, "Thank you, Juan-Pablo Savonitti, for registering our race." So in that moment, I say, "No, man, you changed my name." And actually, I wrote to the organizer and I asked, "Please remove the Nyama from my name because it's not part of my name. I'm not Nyama, I'm Juan-Pablo Savonitti, without Nyama." And from that moment, my flatmates start to tell me, "Wow, Nyama, it's a nice nickname." And for that moment, he started to bothering me, like Nyama. And after some days, I thought that was nice to use Nyama Limits like a name for this project that I was already planning. So I used this one, but it's a funny way how this started. So it's nice.
So how did you decide about doing the Pan American route, the Nyama Limits?
Okay, I was in Fiscultura 2017. I was there.
16 or 17?
17, I guess.
17, yes.
Okay, yes. In 17, when... Yes, it was in 2017. I was there listening to Sean Conway. And in that moment, I really get inspired by him. I mean, I was really enjoying his speech. And I was really surprised of what he was doing, like swimming around the United Kingdom. And in that moment I said, okay, I would like to try to do something huge. And the first thing that came to my mind was, okay, let's do Argentina. Let's go to Argentina and do from the northest part to the southest part of Argentina. Then I check, and this was something like a little bit less than 6,000 kilometers. And I say, okay, I'm not really attracted by this distance. I want to do something longer, something like... Okay. And in that moment, I start to search, to do a more deep research, let's say, until I saw a lot of people that was doing the Pan American Highway, the Pan American Route, and that was an exciting journey. And they were taking like 5, 6, maybe 7 months to do this, and I say, wow, it's amazing. But they was taking all this time by car, by motor, and some people even by bicycle, riding a bike. So at that moment I say, okay, why not running? I mean, and this was my main inspiration, let's say. For that moment I start to, let's say, plan the route and the ways how I can do it. And I start.
But still, that's like 35,000 kilometers. It's a lot.
Yes, it's a lot, but if you think that it's not a race, it's something that I will do enjoying the places and enjoying the very slow running that I will do, because I will not go like racing against the time. I will just take it very easy, going very slow and enjoying the amazing places from where I will pass. So I'm taking it like a, let's say, a kind of holiday. Let's say I'm not thinking that it's a race or that I have the stress to be in time there.
From what I remember about your route, you're doing a lot of zigzag in USA, basically checking out different places. What's the idea behind that? So you're not taking the direct line from north to south, but you're also going different places just to experience them, right?
Yes, that's correct. The idea of this was because, yes, it's easier if I do just a vertical line from north to south and to across the states. But I say that once I will be there, why not really enjoy the places that I have there? And of course, I will be not able to visit all those places that I would like to visit. But I make on purpose this kind of zigzags in order to visit as much as possible places. Let's say the Yellowstone Park, the Grand Teton Park, the Monument Valley, the Death Valley, all these places that are in my, let's say, in my to-do list. I would like to visit them, so that's the idea, to do as much as possible.
And you're also starting in Alaska in the middle of the winter. Maybe again with minus 50 degrees temperatures?
Yes, actually, yes. I'm starting on the 1st of January from Prudhoe Bay in Alaska. That will be really the coldest moment to do it. But I think that is a nice moment to start, because it's not only the first of the year, so it's a good time. At the same time, most of the bears, for example, will be sleeping in that moment, doing the letarg, so they will be resting. So I will take advantage of that. So my main issue in that moment will be to fight the cold, let's say. But it's okay. I will do my best to do it.
Okay, so what's the logistics behind it? You're going to have a support crew. What's that about?
Okay, the idea is to have 1 or 2 cars behind me all the time with a crew that will be following me all the time and providing me everything that I need. Let's say all the gear, the food that I will need, and the car as well will be sometimes our hotels.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is that
But it's not going to be like an RV, but only a Jeep. So it's not going to be a caravan or something like that.
So I still thinking about that. So the idea is to have maybe one small camper and another car that could be like a SUV,
Okay.
or maybe just only one camper. We are still deciding this with the crew, and that will depend also of the quantity of members that we are. Because if we are, let's say, only three, it will be enough one camper and we will be okay. If we will be more, let's say 5 or 6, we will need another car, because we will not enough for everybody of us.
But maybe it's really, you need 2 cars in case one broke for a couple of days and it needs repair. Maybe that's why you need a second car to help out.
Well, let's say that I was planning to have like even more than one backup, maybe to have more cars, only in the first part from Prudhoe Bay, Alaska until Fairbanks, because this part is called the Dalton Highway, and there are 800 kilometers without anything. So you don't have any gas station, you don't have any grocery store, you don't have nothing. So you are in the middle of nothing, and these 800 kilometers could be a little bit hostile, let's say.
Right.
Imagine that the cars will follow me at a very slow speed, so they will not be working. The engine will not work a lot to hit it. And imagine if we stop for a sleep, and we risk to don't start again the car, for example, and that will be a problem.
Right. Well, that's a tough decision. So, okay. So, can you explain just a little bit about the route? Where do you pass? Which countries do you go by? Which areas?
Okay, as I said before, I will start from Prudhoe Bay in Alaska. I will take the Alaska 11 route through the Dalton Highway until Fairbanks, and from there I will enter in Canada. I will cross the states of Yukon. I will pass for Whitehorse again, to say hi to my friends of the Yukon Arctic Ultra. Then I will proceed to British Columbia and then Alberta, from where I will enter in USA, in Montana, in the state of Montana. Then I will do the zigzag that I mentioned before, so going until passing from Idaho and Washington, Oregon, going east again until the Yellowstone Park, and then doing again another zigzag, passing from Salt Lake City in Utah until San Francisco. I will do some part of the Pacific West Coast, and then crossing Nevada, entering in the Death Valley, and going to Mexico, let's say, crossing part of the Texas.
So you're going to be running only on highways or main roads, no trails and stuff like that?
Exactly, yes. I will try to keep main roads, okay, but will be like desertic roads, will be not really like a highway.
Yeah, I think the highways would be forbidden for,
Yes, exactly, and will be very annoying as well.
Yes. All right, so you enter Mexico, and after that?
And from there I will proceed with the Pan American route, or Panamericana, that is all the way starting from Laredo in Texas, that is the border with Mexico. From there, officially start the Pan American, and it's only just one way until Ushuaia.
So there is not zigzags inside after you leave Mexico?
Well, as I said before, for USA, I will do some, let's say, deviation or some small zigzags. And for example, in some amazing places in Mexico, in Ecuador, in Peru, I will pass, let's say, from Arequipa, but I will make more kilometers to go to Machu Picchu, for example. So I will try to go to these attractions that are really calling me. So I will do these changes. I will not go just straight. Well, when I will be in the border between Peru and Chile, I will enter in Chile from the north part, and I will enter directly in the Desierto de Atacama. That is an extremely amazing place. It's
one of the deserts, right?
Yes, it's one of the deserts, and it's very high, very dry, and it's really, how can I say? Okay, I cannot have this word, so cancel this. So I will enter in Chile from the Desierto de Atacama, and from there I will just enter in Argentina, crossing the desert, and going north again. So this is another kind of zigzag that I will do. And I will arrive until La Quiaca, that is the extreme border with Bolivia in Argentina. And from there I will go down all the way, and let's say in a parallel route from the Cordillera de los Andes. I don't know how it's called this in English.
Okay.
It's on the mountain chain of the Andes.
Right.
So from north to south, dividing Chile and Argentina. And for there, well, I will just proceed all the way until Ushuaia. It will be a long way because from there it's something like almost 6,000 kilometers. But still, I will do some deviation because there are a lot of places in my country that I don't know yet, and I want to know. So I will do also there some.
I have heard a lot about Ushuaia. Actually, it was as a child, I read about a lot of books, and I dream about the extreme north, the extreme south. So I know a lot about Ushuaia, but not as a town, but as a port for ships that go to Antarctica, to the islands nearby. Do you plan on after you finish your run? Do you plan to do something like that?
Well, one of the ideas actually I still thinking about was to fly to Antarctica from Ushuaia, but there are not flights from Antarctica. You have to go to Punta Arenas in Chile, but it's much more northwest from there. So one of the options could be going by sea, but you will take some days to reach Antarctica, and then I have to arrive to Ushuaia in the right season, because if I arrive in winter, believe me, it's not possible to go there. So yes, these are the options, for example, that I was thinking about.
Are you like planning the last year of your run as detailed as, let's say, the first few months? So do you know like everything that's going to happen in the last 6,000 kilometers?
No, for sure no. I would like to know that, but at the same time I don't want to know it because it will be much less exciting. Okay. So I will. I know that I'm prepared, let's say, mentally prepared to do something like that. And as I said before, I'm not going against the time or racing. I don't think that I have even something different than the other ones. I just have the time availability to do this, and that's why I would like to do it.
Okay. So I have another question. As you said, there is, it's not unmarked, but there is an official name for this route, the Pan American route. There is also, from what you've told me, there is also an official record for the person that went walking from north to south. Do you know what's the record for that one?
Okay, I know that there was an English guy who did the Pan American by walking, starting in the 77, and he starts from Ushuaia, and he finished in Alaska.
All right, so south to north.
Yes, south to north. And he took something like 6 years and something else. I don't remember exactly the right time, but it was something more than 6 years. The difference is that he was not trying to achieve a record, or he was just enjoying the journey. Let's say he's an explorer, and the idea was to explore the places, the cultures, and go into the different areas of each country. From what I read, he even get married with a Japanese woman during the crossing.
Nice.
So yes, really nice history. So when I found this, I wanted to do it. I'm trying to do it by running, and of course I would like to do it in something like 900 days.
Okay, but there is also an official logbook of this, maybe a Guinness record or something like that. Did you contact like Guinness people?
Yes, actually you can contact the Guinness World Record, and you can find which are the actual records. And I found that this English guy, his name is Megan. He was the record is the fastest. Help me with this. The fastest time? Yes, actually, yes. The record was the fastest time in the Pan American highway or route in a journey. or something like that.
In a single journey.
Yes, something
Right.
like that. I don't remember exactly which was the name, but was the record was the fastest time in the Pan American. The time was something like 6.
But so, what are the rules for this? So it's not a mark route, of course. There are probably different versions, different roads you can take. How do they? How do they know? You know what happened during your zigzags in the different countries. You know, how do they understand that you did the correct route?
Okay, so the official Pan American route starts in Laredo, Texas, in the border between Mexico and USA, and then you have an official route to follow until Ushuaia.
Okay.
Okay, once I will enter in Argentina, I will not go from the same Pan American because I don't want to go to the center of the country. I prefer to take the most naturalistic route that will be parallel as this mountain chain that is the Cordillera de los Andes, because it will be much more nice, the paysage and the way.
Okay.
So my idea was to do that. That's why in USA I will do all of these zigzags as well. And of course they give me logbooks with rules to follow. And for example, there will be a GPS track that I will have with me. I will be tracked all the way. I will need a lot of witnesses during all the way. And so I have to fill these logbooks and then send all the proof to them. Maybe once I will send everything, they will say, no, it's not enough, or like this. But my main issue, believe me, is not, I don't want to do I mean, I will try, but I will not be angry if I don't do the record. I mean, it's not my main objective. Actually, the nicest part of this journey is also that I will do as well some charity during all this project. And the idea is to make a lot of promotion and diffusion of the sign of the.
Our English is escaping us.
Yes.
Tonight.
So ask me if there is something else, if there is a charity or something else about this project. So I will.
Right.
So the project is, for my point of view, will be very nice as well, because I will try to promote as much as possible the signed languages that deaf people is using, and the idea is to collect funds to be donated to the World Federation of the Deaf, who is on charge to fight for the human rights of the deaf people.
Okay.
So this will be also the main
purpose of the
yes, exactly,
of the route. All right.
Exactly, yes. The idea is also as well to do some uploads during the way with the sign languages, some videos, in order to reach the deaf community as well.
Do you know the sign language now?
Yeah, yes, I know.
Can you speak to us in the podcast in sign language?
Yes, I can.
Right. In a different format, maybe.
Okay.
All right. So right now you're in the middle of the organization, I guess, and you're going back to Buenos Aires. I guess you already know the route. You have started searching for sponsors. What is else there to do in this? So, for example, what do you need to complete if somebody wants to help you in some way? What can they do?
Okay, actually, I'm still dealing with some car companies. Okay, just to, let's say, finish the last agreement or possible agreements that we are still thinking about. And the possibility that I would like to have is, let's say, some more sponsors to support me during all the way. And this sponsor could be not only a monetary support, let's say. I mean, if could be maybe some gear or some shoes or something like that. For the shoes, for example, I already decided that I will use Ultras all the time. So I'm still, for example, thinking a lot how to use them, how to change them, and all of that.
How often would you change your shoes?
And well, in the perfect situation, I would like to use one pair of shoes every 800 kilometers. But I will, let's say, start to change them after 200 or 300 kilometers that I'm using one of those pairs, for example. So after 200 kilometers with the same shoe, I will start to use a new one. And after another 200-300 kilometers, I will start to use a new one again. Maybe doing like this with 4 or 5 pair of shoes until they will disappear.
Break up.
Exactly.
Right.
Like
how many shoes are you going to prepare? 20, 30 pairs maybe?
I didn't calculate that exactly now because I'm still thinking if use one pair of shoes every 800 or 900 or 1000, but it's a very easy operation to do.
Yeah,
mathematical operation. You just have to
order more shoes online and that's it.
Exactly. Yes.
Right. Cool. If somebody is like crazy enough and say, "Hey, Juan-Pablo, I want to join you for a few months or a year," is that possible?
Well, another thing that I was planning as well, and that this will happen, that all the people that would like to join me for some kilometers, let's say maybe one day or maybe 2-3 days, 1 week, something like that, and they are free to do it, and I will be more than happy to be escorted. I will just share our experience, so it will be very nice. The only condition is that has to be or in a bike, in a skate, in running, but anything with a motor. Let's say I will not like to have a lot of cars there,
right?
So I would prefer to people with ski rolls or with a bike or with a skate, even if the skate is okay. It will be very nice. I mean, we can share a lot of experience and it will be very fun.
Okay. You said that with a car, it takes like 7 weeks to complete the Pan American route. Is that?
I don't remember exactly. I don't remember exactly now because it depends of how many stops you do, where you decide to go. Actually, the Pan American route is totally 50,000 kilometers because you have like some branch that are going to east and arriving even to Brazil, Uruguay, Paraguay and other countries. But all the Pan American, let's say, is something like 50,000 kilometers. If you do only one line, for example, from north to south, taking out all the zigzags that I will do, the total will be something like 26, maybe 25,000 kilometers.
Okay.
So depends as well if you do the official one, if you just decide to go maybe to the west coast and just change and stop maybe 1 week in one place. So I didn't check or I don't remember exactly now how if you do as fast as possible how many time it would take.
Yeah, because it's a good idea for somebody with a car. Maybe he will try to do it a little bit faster and experience cool places like Machu Picchu. At least that's what I know.
Yes, for sure. And imagine that for a car you can do 1,000 kilometers per day if you want.
Easy.
It's easy, let's say. And those places are really deserts. I mean, they are very huge routes.
So you're going to cross 2 deserts, I think. The Atacama Desert in Chile, and in USA you're going to cross Mojave Desert, which also is like the lowest point, minus 140 elevation, I think.
Yes, in the Death Valley, let's say, you are going even below the sea level.
Yeah.
And actually, I will do part of the Badwater race, let's say, the Badwater track, and then I will go in direction northeast and going to passing south from Las Vegas, let's say.
Okay. And do you know which mountain is going to be the highest in your trail, in your crossing?
Let's say no. I don't know exactly which will be the highest one, but I will pass not far from the McKinley that is in Alaska. That is in the Denali National Park. Yes, and that will be west from the route that I was doing from north to south in Alaska. This was the highest, let's say, after the Aconcagua is the highest one in all the continent.
Yeah, in the continent. All right. Well, too bad that you're not going to see it in the summer, because I've seen pictures from that area in the national park and it's really beautiful.
No, I'm just thinking, I didn't told that, but I will pass maybe for more deserts. I don't remember exactly the names of the other ones.
Oh, but there are more deserts.
Yeah, there are at least 2 more, but small desert is not like the Sahara desert. It's let's say not very very long surface of the desert, let's say, but yes, there are some.
You're also passing Patagonia, I guess.
Yes, I will pass from a lot of places in Patagonia.
Okay.
And actually from all the provinces in Argentina, let's say from Neuquén, Santa Cruz, Rio Negro, and Tierra del Fuego, and Chubut are part of the Patagonia. So it's a huge, vast area.
Yeah, and in the Andes, are you going to do some area around Aconcagua?
No, I will pass from the Ruta 40, so the Route 40, that will go from north to south. I will pass from Mendoza. Mendoza is the province from where Aconcagua is. And I will pass, let's say, relatively near, but I will not go there. I will go, for example, much more south, and I will enter again in Chile. And I will go to the Torres del Paine. And there is a famous ultra as well there, an ultra race. And I will do some trails as well there in the Torres del Paine National Park. And then coming back southeast to enter again in Argentina.
I know that there are also a few jungles that you're going to pass, right?
I think that there are in Peru, near Arequipa is the name of the region where Machu Picchu is. There are some kind of vegetation or some kind of jungles, and I think that will be most of because in some national parks we have a lot of woods and forests, but not really jungle. In South America, the jungles are more in the border between Brazil, Colombia, and Venezuela. There is a huge area that is called Mato Grosso, and this area is like all the Amazonia, and that is the huge jungle part, let's say.
All right, understand. Well, I wish you good luck on your preparation, and you hope you have the greatest time for the next 3 years.
Okay, thank you very much. I wish that as well.
Will we see you in Bulgaria after that?
Well, yes, I'm planning to come back here. I did not decide yet exactly when, and I'm not able to decide that exactly right now. But yes, of course, I'm not living in Bulgaria in a bad relationship.
At least for like a week, so you can say hi.
No, I will come for much more like a week. I will not come only for a week.
Okay.
But yes, I'm planning to come back here.
All right. Thank you, Juan-Pablo, for the podcast, and I hope everything went all right.
Thank you very much. Thank you to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you can just ask me, I know that there will be another nice cows that will be not only that will be parallel or this like that, just to...
Right, so just a moment. I also understand that there is a great cause, a charity cause on your running. You're not just doing selfishly, but you're trying to help others and promote something. What is that?
Okay, actually, the idea also that will accompany this project will be to promote the sign languages, so the language of the deaf people in the world. And I think that doing this by adding videos and with the sign language will attract more people as well to be more curious and to try to learn the language, for example. And at the same time, I will collect funds to donate all of them to the World Federation of the Deaf. And let's say that the perfect idea will be to collect like $1 for each kilometer that I will run. And this will be open to all the private companies or donators who would like to help with that. And this amount will be 100% donated to the World Federation of the Deaf. So I will not use this amount for my
expenses.
Exactly, yes, or for my project. Let's say, just it's something that I would like to do.
Right, that's really generous of you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, good luck in raising those funds.
Thank you very much. That's enough because I didn't think that.